Yeah, this is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Let's go.
Hey everybody.
Hi guys.
We're on holidays at the moment.
Oh, and loving it
and
sick.
loving it.
We've gotten a collection of some of the finest work that we've done throughout the year. Oh, guys.
And then we padded it out with some rubbish.
Don't
undersell
undersell it, Nathan. Don't undersell it. And this, of course, being a live broadcast. Today's best bits are all about...
Maggie Dent to the rescue.
Couldn't have said it better
yeah.
myself.
Oh, my God. Right to the point you are.
Enjoy.
This is Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Time to welcome the one and only Maggie Dent to the show. Good morning, Mags.
Hi, Mag.
Oh, God, I missed you so much.
Oh,
Oh,
sweetheart.
swearing.
I miss eating your protein balls.
Yeah, well, and a few other things.
Maggie, we do miss your home cooking. Hey, how's it been over there? We know that, the floods and stuff, which we followed over from here, have been absolutely horrendous. So how's that impacted you?
Oh, look, fortunately I live on a hill, but there was a landslide that nearly took out my son and my daughter-in-law as they were going around it. So it's just been really, really crazy.
Wow.
But I've had it. I've done it. I've corona'd out. I had it. I have to laugh. My 2-year-old grandson says, "You got Rona, Nanny."
Yes.
How was
So,
it, Maggie? Was it? Did you get? Because a few people have had it and they go, "Oh, it was
Yes.
just sort of like a cold." One of my mates had it. He had
so
fevers.
I'm old and I'm prone to pneumonia and things like that. So I was a little bit nervous. Hit me like a steam truck with the
really?
fevers and the temperature.
Yeah.
36 hours, Panadol hardly touched it. And then it just like a fog lifts and you just kind of, it's like a cold. I got a bit of, my voice is a bit raspy. I had a fair bit of snot.
Yeah.
But I was, so I'm just glad, I've got the stocks. I survived it.
Yeah.
And apparently that means that when I finally get back to WA, I'm probably the safest person you could be around because,
Brilliant. Yeah, you have your natural
at the end of
immunity.
the day.
I tell you what, being triple vaxxed is obviously helping a lot of people through that because anyone that I know that has gone through it and then I say, well, if imagine what you possibly, not definitely, but possibly could have gone through if you weren't triple vaxxed. It could have been horrendous.
I know, but... Okay, my new season.
Yes. Of your
Bring it
podcast.
on.
I know.
So Parental as Anything is back again. Season 5.
Oh, my God, we're going a bit different this time, too. We're doing some Help Me Maggies, because I get all these emails all the time, get Help Me Maggie. We thought, why don't we just chuck some of them on the air?
Yeah, it's a great
I
idea.
love some Help Me Maggies.
And they're just short, it's like Agony Aunt, and short and punchy, and you hear a dear parent's voice, obviously usually mum. And that's really good. It's put a little different slant. The podcasts are lucky if they go to half an hour. They're usually about 20 minutes, and for some parents that's even too long.
Yeah. Well, look, before we get stuck into it, 13 24 10, Help Me Maggies. Let's open it up.
Help Me Maggie.
If you've got a Help Me Maggie.
That's what they say when they used to email you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Help Me Maggie.
Everybody needs Maggie's help.
And Maggie, I was looking at your apps coming up, including Sleep Wars and what to do when your kids hate school. So these things are... we're only early into a school year, and of course, Sleep Wars is always an issue.
Yeah.
Not a household doesn't go through that.
Oh, my goodness. And what's really reassuring, I talked to two kind of experts. One's a teen expert and one's a younger one. And, it's great to know that it's kind of normal. Do you know what? It's really quite normal, especially little ones. And I was just talking to Ames before I came on air, and she's finally got her daughter out of her bed. And
yes.
We don't beat ourselves up if the way they fall asleep best is beside us, because the bottom line is the more sleep everybody gets, the nicer and smarter and kinder everyone is the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have a look at us. We hardly get any sleep.
Hey, Maggie, you
awful
gave
people.
some advice to my best mate whose daughter was really finding it hard to sleep. And you talked to me about, because they're upstairs and she's downstairs, and you said it's the physical distance away from them that she's feeling.
Yeah.
So I came up with this idea that he did. That
They've moved into a one-bedroom
it seemed
unit.
to work. I said to him, maybe a fun thing to do would to get her a walkie-talkie, so she could lie there in
You're
bed.
not so far away.
Yeah, and she would have, even if she used it or not, she would have that connection, knowing as soon as she pressed that, she could speak to mummy and daddy. It worked. Yeah, it was really good.
They turned their end off, obviously.
That's
they don't
a
want to
really
wake
good
you up.
idea, mate.
Yeah,
I'm stealing that.
Yeah, but that was
Do
from.
I have to move over, Nathan? And you've got it now. You're going to take my queen of common
That's right.
sense
Well,
around
no,
parents. You just
what it was, Maggie, it was the distance thing. And when you said that, I thought, what can bridge the distance from a kid without moving their bedroom? And that is contact, and what contact is. And that's what I love about it. Is
that's exactly why with kids who are struggling to transition.
Yeah.
They actually want to be near the safest, but you're just putting them into a really strange environment, which is automatically going to make them stressful. So who they actually want is is their big safe growing up to come with them. So anytime we build a connection that goes over the distance, whether that's a dab of mum's perfume underneath their earlobe or a little heart in the hand or a message in the lunchbox, you are making the distance shorter for them and they feel more connected. And it really is. It's the same, for all of us, really.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's connection.
And when I miss these, when we're on holidays and I'm not close enough to these guys, thank God I've got some of their garments.
Yeah,
to keep
Sean's
me safe.
got some of my hair.
But I mean, because sometimes, like, I wake up at my house and Sean's spooning me, and I go, "How did you get in? Where's Megan?"
I just go, "Shh, go to the
Yeah, he just strokes his hair.
No, we're biologically wired. We are biologically wired to thrive best when we have safe, intimate relationships.
Yeah.
That's what I told him.
I know he did.
Whether it's a human or a good dog, hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing is, Maggie, the spoon turned into a spork, and it was just a bit.
So you didn't hate it. You didn't hate it.
Well,
and we might move on.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
The wonderful Maggie Dent has a podcast called Parental as Anything through the ABC, and season 5 launches this week, so check that out. And one of the segments is Ask Me Maggie, so we thought, why don't we do that?
Okay, so Lisa would like Maggie's help. Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
All right,
Lisa,
Lisa.
Maggie, Lisa.
Hi.
Maggie, hi.
What's happening?
So my 5-year-old started pre-primary this year. He did kindy last year, but he started pre-primary this year. And he started sucking his collars of his school shirts, of his clothes at home, to the point where the first 2 weeks of school, he's bitten a button off. The collars are all frayed.
He's eating his
So
clothes.
he's literally
part goat.
so he sits there and as a comfort will just suck on the on the collar.
Yeah.
Oh.
He does it
Okay.
subconsciously. He doesn't know he's doing it. I don't know how to stop it.
Lisa. Yeah, okay. So the very first thing is that your little cherub is in a school system that is developmentally almost inappropriate because it's putting so much pressure on them. So that's the very first thing. So what he's doing, and this is a response for him to try and co-regulate his anxiety and his stress, that being in such an environment, also being away from the safest big people who help me safe. So some children will act out and be aggressive and shout and run around and push kids over. Others will what we call shut down, and this is kind of one of the shutdown behaviours where they look like they're not either listening or they're in dreamland, or they're chewing on something, or they're rocking in their chair. So it's just an attempt by him to co-regulate the stress cortisol in his body. So first thing around these things, there's lots of free information about anxiety on my website. And I'd probably see if you can get him to have to do one of the mindfulness ones, perhaps one of the free ones I've got, Safe and Sound or Sleepy Time, because that might make him think he's got a great big huge super protector that's hiding behind him who is going to keep him safe. And also I would absolutely have a quick chat with his teacher and just let him know that this is kind of, is there anything that she can do to help him feel safer in that environment? Because when he has a big person who checks in on him or winks at him or rubs his back every now and then, it often reduces the cortisol, so he won't need to do that. So it's often a sign of anxiety.
I think this is really great for you to tackle now, Lisa, because I feel the same way here at work. And yesterday I ate a bomber jacket.
Should have seen when it came out.
Good gravy on it though. So, it's heartbreaking, isn't it, when they're so little?
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, Lisa, I hope that helps. MaggieDent.com is where you get all those resources as well. So
Okay.
check
Thank
that
you very
out.
much.
No worries,
Thanks,
sweetheart.
My
Lisa.
pleasure.
Felicity's in Applecross High Fleet.
Hello, how are
Hey, mate,
you?
good. Here's Maggie for you.
Hi, Maggie, how are you?
Good. What's happening?
Good. I have a 13-year-old son who has never been into any trouble before. He's always been very good and compliant. 4 weeks, 3 discrepancies at school, and no accountability. It's all the teacher's fault, apparently. So we're just like pulling our hair out, my husband and I, because we're trying to, teach him that he has to own up to his errors, show some remorse, or at least own up to it.
Yeah.
We've tried taking social media off him, Xbox off him, and he still thinks it's not his fault and it's not fair. And, yeah.
This is common. This is common, Felicity. Don't worry, mate.
Oh my gosh! And it's so interesting. It comes just after the previous question, because I'm going to tell you that your son is actually really probably also struggling with massive anxiety in a big environment with puberty happening, which means he's got all these other changes going on, including his brain getting pruned. And that means they're far more impulsive, they're far more reckless, and sometimes the acting out is a way for them to try and belong with a bunch of boys. They're trying to get some status because they're biologically wired to want to kind of be included with, you know, key friends and key things. So they just don't always think. But I'm going to let you know that he is not deliberately doing a lot of this behaviour. So when you think, well, let's just punish him, you're not actually helping him know how to make a better decision in that moment. So it's about making choices that's going on. Now, there's lots of free articles, again, on my website helping you to understand this, but I want you to, if you haven't bought From Boys to Men, I explain it in enormous detail about how we communicate to a boy, because once he starts doing this, he's going to get busted and busted and busted, and then he's going to hate himself, and then he's going to get angrier, and the angrier he is, the more the behaviour that will continue, whereas we coach them. Yeah, I get that. I get that. That's what's going down. Maybe you just take a breath. Maybe you go for a run before you get into class. There's all these things we have to help him, recognise, because of course he's going to be defensive. Because do you know a teenager who's not defensive when they've done the wrong thing?
Yeah.
And this is developmentally incredibly, incredibly normal. So once again, it feels like an alien might have stolen your son, but we're going, this is exactly what they're supposed to do. Their biological drivers want them to be more independent, to be respected more, even though they don't deserve it. And it's really, really a bumpy ride, but I've been writing about it for years, so you'll find truckloads of free stuff on my website. And possibly listen to the podcast I did with Richard Seidler on Conversations about it, because that one really, apparently, a lot of teen boys said, no, that lady knows what she's talking about.
Hey, Maggie, so in the meantime, while she is sort of doing the research, and if he keeps being disruptive at school and stuff like that, you said that punishment doesn't work.
No, we have a deal. So we sit down and we go, right, this is what's going down.
Yeah.
And this is something that didn't go down before, so things are changing. And we're really we want to be the person who helps you become a really good man one day, but this is kind of normal. But it can become a habit and it can become a problem, and people then see you as a problem, and we don't want that to happen.
Okay.
So I have a little step process that's on my website somewhere there that says we need him to know what is wrong with the behaviours he's doing. What is it you're trying to do? Because quite often they're trying to have fun. Try often they didn't think. Try often. So when we get under the intention, then we're going to say, okay, so this is how it is according to the school rules and how our values are. So what do you reckon you might do next time instead if you felt the same way? We walk through with them, and when we do it, feed him first. Seriously, feed him first.
Feed him, hand him back his social media, and then sit him down and say, we're not going to go down that rate. We're going to work together.
So our options are we work with you, because we don't like punishing you and making you angry, because that doesn't make any sense. But we have to really take some steps that you get to be accountable for, but they need to be steps that he can manage, and they need to be little steps gradually leading to another. There's a whole section in about a deal. I'm going to set up a deal for you, and we'll help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah,
very
awesome.
good. Very
Great
good,
advice.
Maggie.
Thanks, Felicity. Good luck. Let's go to Elise in Safety Bay. Morning, Elise.
Hello.
Hi, Elise.
Need some help from Maggie?
I've got a beautiful 8-year-old son who is incredibly intelligent, not just academically but also emotionally. He's sort of wise beyond his years. And he's caught in this really interesting place of not being able to connect with anybody at school, and not being able to sort of make friends his own age. But then he's also too young to hang out with the adults and sort of banter with these adults.
Yeah.
And it's sort of with COVID, they've separated all the cohorts at school, so he's been forced to try and make friends with kids his own age instead of playing with the boys in the year level above. And my beautiful little boy is now like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so annoying? Like, I can't make friends.
Aww.
And he's in a really dangerous place, I feel.
Oh, look, it's wobbly. And I have just probably the thing that's going to help him the most is you're right, he's going to be a bright boy, and he's probably going to naturally gravitate to older, kids when he can, but he's 8. And 8 is also a really tricky year. It's one of the 5 tricky windows of boyhood. Sorry about that one, Dob, that grenade, which makes them even more sensitive because there's a change in their hormonal levels and they get really sensitive about these things. So this is a perfect window, and I am going to suggest to you this is, and I really don't like fogging my stuff, but there's an audio that I've created called I'm a Good Friend. And what it does, it actually is let's pretend they close their eyes, but it's actually about welcoming and farewelling strategies and all sorts of things about him being a good friend to himself. And I created it for a lot of those kids who just, no one wants to play with me, I got no friends, because they didn't have the social skills. They were turning up with a miserable-looking face with their arms folded. No one wants to play with that. So when we actually work with the video he's running in his head, before it gets entrenched, we can change his mindset and we can get him practicing at home, we can get him smiling in the mirror, we can get him shaking hands, or just knowing how to create connections that make other people feel more safe around him. And he will find someone in his common interesting, that's your thing, who maybe needs to get to a chess club, but something that's his, one of his passions. He'll tend to make friends better with people with similar interests and passions. So I hope that can help you get over this little glip.
Oh, or just drop him down to the nearest nursing home and get him to befriend some old people, because it sounds like he's just older beyond his years.
He's old beyond his years.
And he thinks that all of the kids that he's speaking to in his year are stupid. It's like, come on.
And they probably are. Yeah. They're actually their own age.
Yeah. Thanks, Elise.
Good luck, Elise.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.